Hey everyone, it's Jolanda
Olivia.
and we're here with another episode of Life and Cookies, where we take, okay, we're trying to figure out a tagline. So, if you want to put something in our little inboxes or whatever, help us out because we're struggling with that. But where we bite the cookie every day, all right? So, today's episode, we're going to discuss entitlement. The youths of today, the teenagers and young adults, have no patience. They're very entitled and they want everything now. So, to help us discuss this, we have a special guest, Mr. Robert Brothers. Say hey, Rob.
Hey.
He's so fun. That's Olivia's husband. So I'm going to let Olivia go ahead and take it away with talking to Rob and getting his viewpoint on the entitlement.
So Robert came home and he was very frustrated, and he was just looking around and just discussing with some friends, coworkers about the generation that we have now coming up that are just not used to hearing no. Mm-hmm. And so he was making fun of them, calling them Generation Yes. So I'm going to just have him tell a quick little story and just how he feels about our new generation of entitlement. So, Robert.
Okay. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a great day. So at my job, it's you get hired. We tell you when you interview what position you're being hired for, what position you're being interviewed for, what position you're being interviewed for, and when we hire you, we tell you your schedule, and there's always a chance, after your probationary period, whatever time that is, that you can get moved. If another spot open up on a better schedule, better days off, we always tell them after 6 months, if a job position opens up, more than likely you'll get it because you work there. So we had this young guy, African-American male, in his early 20s. We hired him in 6 months, and we told him he was going to work a specific shift with specific days off, and he was like, okay, he accepted the job. Well, not even a month into the job, he started asking, can he switch his shift? He was told, after your probationary period, there's a possibility if a spot opens up. We got high turnover, so there's always a spot open. Always. We always hiring. We always, moving people off, what they call the bad shift to the better shifts for better days off. So after 2 months, he asked again. 3 months. Then his attitude changed. He started, being grumpy around work. Long story short, we're going to terminate him tonight because of his attitude. And it seems like these younger generations, so early 20s, mid to early 20s, they're the ones that want everything given to them on a silver platter. When I was grown, when I started 21 years ago at my job, we weren't moved. We didn't have an option. We were told, this is your shift, this is your spot. And if they wanted to move you, they just moved you willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. Now we give them that, we promote them, we give them, an option if they want to move. So it's changed a lot, but they can't take no. And I don't understand where this comes from.
You don't?
No, even my teenage son.
They get everything now, Robert. They eat out the microwave. They have a cell phone that's a computer. They don't take public transportation. We pick them up or provide them automobiles. They don't know what no means. Like, I'm aging myself because I'm older than you. However, I have a microwave growing up. So when I came home from school, I had to go in the refrigerator and my leftovers went in the broiler on the bottom of the oven. Okay, so
I didn't have a microwave.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm an early 70s baby, but and it's bad because when you're in a field where the turnover rate is high, we do have a lot of turnover. And it's bad when you have to, terminate people based on attitudes. And it seems like there's a lot, like we have last Friday night, we lost, we lost the staff. He resigned, 24 years old, real good worker, really wanted to work with kids, but he got offered a better job in the schools. So he took the job. But I talked to him last Friday night. And I got was getting his point of view on why he left, what he thought about the job. And long story short is he loved working with us, where we at. His thing was just the schedule. And I understood that. He got offered a better job, a little more money, a better schedule. But he said it, and he's 24, and he said it. He hit it head on the nail. Kids in his the young people in his generation, they want it now. And if they can't get it, they're going to look for it someplace else. And I tried to explain to him, I said, but in most jobs, that is not the way it works. And especially in law enforcement, you're told what you're going to do, and that's it. And he was like, well, like you said, Jay, they are looking for it now. And these kids come in making double what I made 21 years ago to start. Coming out of college. With no experience, and if they have a master's degree or any type of advanced schooling, they make more than that. So, and like I'm sitting there as a supervisor, like you're coming in making good money. You probably still live at home with your mama. You have no real bills. You might have a car note. You're not paying no rent. You're not paying utilities, and you upset about a schedule, or you upset about your days off. It's a job. You know how hard it is to get a job today.
But true. But you were also saying you didn't know where it came from, and I jumped on the bandwagon of we give them everything soon. But let's go with the educator in the room. What's the school system like nowadays as far as kids being taught patience? Do they still even give you zeros? And
no.
If you write your name on the paper, you get a zero and things of that nature anymore?
No. So the schools basically are into the give it to them now as parents are, because parents come into the schools, they complain that their child didn't get this, didn't get that, but they didn't turn anything in. So now if they at least put their name on the paper and attempted 1 or 2 problems, you get 50%. So everyone's being rewarded for mediocrity. So since they're being rewarded for that, they have come to the notion that I'm supposed to get regardless. It's just like when you have your kids on a team that loses every single game, but at the end of the year, everybody gets a participation trophy.
I like that.
Instead of being like, you lost, you get nothing. If you earn first place, then you have something to strive for. And in the schools, it's the same thing. Teachers have to bite their tongues all the time because principals, school districts are telling them they get 50% just if they attempt it. Or you have to give them a chance to redo it. Or you have to give them time to make up an assignment. Where when we were growing up, and we all are born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s, is that you didn't do shit. You didn't do stuff, you got a zero.
Yes, true.
It is a zero. And as an educator, that was how I taught. Like, if you didn't do it, you got a zero. Because if I didn't turn in my lesson plans, I got written up. Or if I didn't do my report cards, I got written up. So if that's the accountability you're holding me to, I'm going to hold the children to the same thing, because when they go into the real world, like the people who Robert is now dealing with, they don't know consequences. And that's really what it is that it's the consequences that we have to hold them to. And I'm going to be honest, like you said, as parents, we do it. I know we struggled having children. So for me, as a parent, I want to do more, and Rob does too. He wants to do more for our children, but then we both look at each other like, damn, you spoiled them. Damn, you spoiled them. Damn, you spoiled them. When we both did it. And so, but what I can say is that's different from what I see out in public is at least our children respect and will say our parents don't give us everything. We do have to earn it. And that's one thing that when they go, like our son now works, he knows now, because last year he messed up, but this year he knows that whatever shift they give him, he's going to work that shift.
The shift you work.
Wherever they put him, he's going to work there. If they ask him to stay late, he's not going to be like, well, I got to go home. You told me I can go home. No, he's going to work it. Where last year, he had that entitlement mentality because it was first year working and ended up having to quit/get fired.
He learned.
He learned real quick, where a lot of these young adults and teenagers aren't having that conversation with their parents, so they're not learning that. So then they're a 24-year-old working them for the first time, and now they're being fired.
I just think that a lot of kids, you know, in the early, a lot of young adults, they don't get the experience when they're younger. They're not forced to work when they're teenagers. So that was one of the good things about having our son work, is that he can get that experience of working for somebody. Even if he only does it for a little while, just, you know, see that, you know, if somebody told you to do something, you have to do it, other than your parents. And a lot of these kids, when they enter the workforce, because I do interviews as well, they have no work experience. They went to high school, they played sports. They went to college, and they party. And now they work. So, yeah, we all did that, but I know when I was in college, I worked.
I did too.
And when I was in high school, I worked.
I did too.
I started working when I was 13.
I did not work, but I did have respect.
And you have responsibilities.
But you also had responsibilities at your house.
I had a lot of them.
You made sure the house was clean before your mother got home. Like, you had chores, so that was your job.
Yeah.
So you couldn't say, well, Mom, I didn't do that because I wanted to watch TV. Or
I could, but it was some consequences, and they were quite heavy.
I didn't want to do that because I wanted to chill out with my girl. No, that didn't happen, because otherwise your butt would be a different color.
Shut up. Yes,
But so when now, and there's going back to the entitlement part, we have a lot of young people entering the workforce, and they feel entitled, and it's a detriment. It's a detriment for the staff that's been there for a long time, because now we're having to terminate. We're having to, you know, when we do interviews, when we hear these young people talk at interviews, they don't know how to do interviews. They don't know how to, you know, resumes are horrible, and you know it's bad because there's people out there that professional resume writers, but these kids come in and their resumes aren't up to par. They can't write because handwriting is not taught anymore. Their grammar is horrible, but they think they should get the job. We interviewed somebody last week, right out of college. I mean, this kid graduated in May, and he was telling us, you know, that he applied to, you know, so many jobs, and he hasn't, you know, never went back, you know, haven't gotten second interviews. And when I interviewed him, after the interview, we sat, you know, as a, you know, interview team and talked. No wonder he never got a second interview. He can't talk. His handwriting sample was horrible. And when you asked them questions, it was like you had to dig and pry to get simple answers that as an interviewer that you expect to hear, especially in law enforcement and the criminal justice system, you expecting to hear certain things, and he didn't have it. 24. But when you know, and these kids are coming out of school without these skills, yeah, they might have good grades, or, you know, they might have a lot of public service, or they might have a lot of community service, but they don't have the background, or they don't have the experience, just the general life experience.
And that, I think, comes from the generation that as soon as they're out the womb, they have technology. We didn't have that. We played outside. When we had to talk to our friends, as my husband always say, he had to go, "Hey, yo," out the window to somebody where I just called you on the phone. But if your phone was busy, then I couldn't get through because there was no call waiting.
That's right.
You had to go knock on their actual physical door to say, come outside. Like, we were in groups. We played sports that we met other different type of people. So we had more